So you know how I said that our time with Uncompromising Mode would be drawing to a close shortly after our silk-filled fight with the Hooded Widow here? Yeah, I kinda lied to ya. For good reasons though. 13 of them to be exact. From fruity bombs turned sweet desserts to snot-laden roasts, the Crockpot was something I barely touched during our time with the mod, and that's a shame, as 13 new recipes were just lying in wait. 13 new recipes that really could have helped and or done some really cool things. Let's eat. And we'll begin with the cool stuff, of course, as it also gives us an opportunity to encounter some quote-unquote forgotten mobs too. Gloomberry Jam, it's called, and it requires a boomberry, something we'll discuss soon enough, a gloomberry, something we'll be talking about right flipping now, and any filler that isn't inedible or monster related. But the dish will grant 37.5 hunger, 15 sanity, and 40 health respectively, as you can see. But in order to truly benefit from it, you will have to face down a new mob called a Depths Viper. Late Depthworm waves will eventually feature these gloom bringers, and you best be prepared as they bring friends. Shadowy friends, that is. They're a pretty tough fight, even if the kiting patterns are the exact same, but finish the job and a gloomberry will be yours. Proceed to slurp down some of that gloomberry jam, and for a time, those shadowy fiends we were just fighting will turn into our shadowy friends instead. They will fight what we fight and cannot die up until their timer eventually runs out. So bring your enemies some gloom today. Or better yet, Zaps them dead with Zaps berry Parfait. Now our second recipe of the day is going to look and sound pretty darn familiar, with its ingredients requiring a new berry type from a new depthworm type, and no inedible fillers along the way, and you probably already noted its identical stats when compared to the Gloomberry Jam we just mentioned, but the differences will be that dairy ingredients will take center stage, that the depths eel that you'll have to fight for it in the later depthworm waves will shock you if you aren't protected against it, and that the dish itself will not actually spawn anything, but will certainly shock whatever you need it to. Eat it up, and anything that now hits you will light up like a Christmas tree. And interestingly enough, this shocking mechanic spreads to surrounding enemies too. Do mind though, that any mob that does get hit by it has a short resistance to it for a bit, so don't just stand there thinking you can shock them over and over and over again like this bearded idiot thought. But enjoy zapsing them good at the end of the day. And heck, maybe you'll even zap some snot out of some stuff too while you're at it, and more specifically, some koalefants. If so, some Snot Roast could be on the dinner menu, and it might just be the only thing you'll ever want to eat. The thing already restores 150 hunger a pop, alongside some pretty abysmal sanity and health regen, sure, but its very special recipe of the koalefant trunk, potato, carrot, and onion will be definitely worth it, as Snot Roast also boasts the ability to slow down the rate of our hunger drain by 50% for a whopping 4 days straight. One meal, a 50% reduction to our hunger drains for 4 flippin' days. Yup. I think we'll take 7. But next up, Beefalo Wings. Yet another dish with no room to play around with its ingredients. You will need a beefalo horn, 2 battleless wings, and a veggie to magically make some ranch dipping sauce appear, along with 62.5 hunger, 30 sanity, and 30 health respectively. Now that's already a really good set of stats for something that isn't too difficult to whip up. But throw in the fact that Beefalo Wings will also prevent knockback attacks from hurting us, and things get even better. As you can see, the mod gives a knockback ability to plenty of enemies, including some basic ones, so to negate their attacks for half a day is obviously great. My only complaints? Why ranch? That's just gross. This, however, is not theater popcorn, folks. As long as you're using at least 2 corn and 1 stick of butter, you will be making 3 bags of the stuff per craft, and on top of each already giving 37.5 hunger and 20 health a pop, the stuff will give us large amounts of sanity based on how large of a battle we happen to be witnessing at the time we eat it. Yes, you're understanding that correctly. The more mobs that are fighting when we eat some theater corn nearby, the more sanity we will regain over time. Bosses count as 6 points for this table here, while all the other mobs count as 1. So make notes, sit back, Chow down and ease your mind with some buttery goodness. But oh look everybody, it's them boom berries I said we were going to be talking about ages ago, but forgot about. They don't just go into some sweet jam though, they go into their boom berry pancakes too. Costing at least 2 boomberries and a high egg value, boomberry pancakes will restore 75 hunger, 20 sanity, and 5 health a flapjack stack, and while there's nothing special to them beyond that, actually making them will be a unique process. Found in the new Hooded Forest biome alone, boomberry roots can be dug up for 1 boomberry itself, however getting too close might end up blowing up the entire set of them, potentially dealing 60 damage to you while you're at it. It can be pretty dangerous stuff, but there is another option. Fruit bats. That blue flying thing you saw earlier will drop a boomberry too, so make note there. Good luck. Next up though, Lisle Loaf. Once again, the only thing that's special about Lisle Loaf here is how we actually get the rice to actually make Lisle Loaf. But 62.5 hunger for a very easy recipe of rice and veggies ain't too shabby. But how do we get rice, you ask? It's simple. Rice plants found in the water within swamp biomes. Each plant will give 1 rice each, and they'll take 3 days to regrow another. So loaf it up. But if you're looking to be a bit more fancy with your rice cooking, might I suggest some seafood paella instead? Now it won't be nearly as easy to make as you'll have to toss in a live lobster, but you will at least net more hunger, sanity, and health overall, while also benefiting from hay fever immunity for a pretty decent amount of time. And that sounds useful, right? The only issue is, hay fever doesn't exactly exist in Uncompromising Mode anymore, as of literally yesterday. And I mean seriously, what are the flippin' odds that the day I decide to review these recipes is the day immediately after a couple of them become practically worthless, as their hay fever mechanics now don't matter. Take the California King here for example. A drink that will still provide 62.5 hunger and 3 health at the cost of 15 sanity a slurp, sure, but now its ability to stop the effects of hay fever for a whole 4 days is useless. But oh well, what can you do, eh? It's nothing a couple tacos won't fix. The hard shell taco recipe is actually one you might miss, as the wiki doesn't list it in its new Crockpot page, but toss together at least 2 scorpion carapaces alongside some veggies for a pretty decent munch of 37.5 hunger, 5 sanity, and 20 health each. Just know that some of the locals won't exactly take kindly to us chewing down on their friends and family at the end of the day. Steamed hams are also a thing, and might just be one of the most accessible and stat-friendly recipes that we've got in Uncompromising Mode, for you see, all we need is a big piece of meat, some foliage, and a veggie in order to benefit from 37.5 hunger, 15 sanity, and 40 health a bite. That is not bad, especially when we can get foliage from the Hooded Forest nowadays. Oh, and the fun thing about these is that depending on what type of foliage you use, we can make them have different color sprites. Enjoy. Just don't go using too much foliage in other recipes, otherwise you'll be walking away with a simple salad instead. Essentially wet goop that isn't wet goop. In fact, to wrap up our day today, here is another wet goop type recipe for when we attempt to use too much ice as filler nowadays. Snow cones. Enjoy. And there you have it, everyone. The 13 new recipes of Don't Starve Together's Uncompromising Mode. While we might not have taken a bite out of any of this in our series, we certainly made sure to have ourselves a feast here today. Thanks for watching, folks. Well wishes to all. Let me know if there's anything else to cover in Uncompromising Mode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.